organization, and we've created some solutions as to how we like to resolve several of these things. Our current problems are our agency spend. We are currently spending around $30 million in agency fees right now with Bank of Bank. We are currently working with HR, who has little expertise right now in the field of recruitment, and so that is creating some bottleneck a little bit with us. 20% turnover, which is equaling around 180 million of a loss for us currently. That's a big hit right there. Right now, our turnover is around 20%. Standard industry norm is around 17%. So right now, we're high, a little too high. Our attrition and our turnover right now, that's something that we also want to focus on to create and bring up employee morale, and of course hiring more quantity over quality hires. And then also we want to discuss the lack of human resources and recruitment partnership, working with HR to work to be in a more consultative and advising role, and informing our partners, what we're doing, how we can work more effectively and move things forward. So what I like to do is pass it over to my counterpart, Eric, where he can discuss one of our pain. Raquel, changing of the slide decks, thank you. And we're gonna pass it to Raquel, who can talk about one of the solutions for one of our pain points.
Okay, so agency spend, Bank of Bank in 2016, quarter 3, we had 3,000 hires, all ended up with agency. That's our entire workforce. The total spend was 30 million agency fees per hires.
So we did spend more on agency fees as total at the bank, but that's contractors, so specifically for permanent hires, it was $30 million. To give you an idea of where AGS can come in and really alleviate that pain, so for HSBC in the Canadian market in particular, in the third quarter of 2016 had 534 hires through the Allegis RPO, only 2 of which were through an agency. So they spent approximately $50,000 in agency fees for that quarter, and for the entire year up until that point, it was only 4 candidates that came in through an agency for the entire country. So that's approximately 1,500 to 2,000 hires, 4 of which through an agency, and only about $100,000 were spent on those permanent hires from an agency perspective.
All right, so let's talk about lack of expertise, right? So we've all heard the term jack of all trades, master of none, right? That's the issue we're having right now in our HR department. We have HR generalists doing way more than what they can handle at this time. So what we noticed is with AGS, their recruiters are specialists. They focus on that one thing, and that one thing is recruiting. Headhunters, tailor consulting approach. These guys really focus on the passive candidates. They spend the majority of their time looking for those people first because they understand that the passive candidates are the ones we want. They're working, their skills are sharp, they're normally better at what they do because, of course, they're still employed. Next, everything in real time, no time for things to fall through the cracks. A lot of times our HR people will wait for the candidates to apply. That's not the case with AGS. They actually go out there, they're recruiting as soon as that rec comes in. But the important thing that I thought was great from our discovery meeting is that before they do that, they reach out and partner with the hiring managers, get an understanding exactly what they're looking for, the culture of those clinics, and then on top of that, they make sure that they had it correct by going back to that hiring manager and talking it out again. They call it their recruiter, their RDS. Lastly, the onboarding. So we've learned that many of our candidates, when they're hired on, they feel that it goes completely dark towards that end stage, as in they've accepted that offer, they're in that background check stage, but they're not hearing from anyone. AGS makes sure that their recruiters are still in contact with the new employees at that time, where they're not feeling like they're alone in the process, and where we can actually end up losing people there. Another good thing to point out is that their main point of contact with managers is the telephone. In a day and age where technology is moving extremely high, they still understand that personal touch of reaching out to a manager, speaking with them on the phone, or getting that sit-down meeting with them is pinnacle when you really have to understand exactly what's going on with the manager and what they're looking for.
So when it comes to attrition, as we mentioned earlier in the presentation, our bank internationally, so across the globe, we do have a 20% attrition rate. The industry average for banking specifically is 17%. Right now, it is costing our bank globally approximately $180 million yearly when it comes to losing those employees, training new ones, and the agency fees that we're paying out to find those new employees, and that's based on an average salary of $50,000 per year. So there are, of course, some candidates or some employees where it's more expensive or less expensive, but if we were to average all the salaries across the board, we are looking at $50K. So when it comes to onboarding, so for candidates that have a poor onboarding experience, and this goes to Eric's point, for those particular candidates, 37% feel that they're prepared for their first day. Therefore, we're opening it up to 63% of the workforce that's vulnerable and leaving in their first year. So there's a study that shows if they had a bad experience, which is 63% of them, there is a 25% chance that they're going to leave that year. So we're losing a significant amount of people just in 1 year, which is a huge waste of money for the bank.
All right, so we've covered a lot of the pain points already, and these are a lot of the offerings that we've already discussed, but it's kind of, so we've talked about our pain points, what AGS can offer, and now we're going to really drive it home with some solutions and strategy and tactics behind those things. So